Ooh, ooh. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Yeah, that's right. We're back. It's been a seems like it's been a while, hasn't it? I think the last video you guys got was just some raw stuff that I shot last week while I was up at Comic-Con. And frankly, haven't really done anything since then. I had some family in town. I had a lot of just real life stuff to do in the past week, and obviously Comic-Con, and just taking some time off. I'm not gonna fix that on there. um, so yeah, it's been kind of busy, and it's been the kind of busy where I actually haven't even had a chance to be in this room. So we're back in the old painting gaming room here, which really isn't going to be that for much longer. So eventually I am going to have to move the quote unquote Pip studio here, and we're going to be moving to another room down here, which is going to make things a little more cramped, but that's okay. I think in the long term it will be better. So anyway, that's what we got going on. I really haven't picked up a paintbrush in some time, so tonight the goal is to just do that again. I do have a miniature that we're going to paint that I have done nothing with. And like I've been sitting here for about 10 minutes actually, and I was going to play around with the new beta streaming stuff, but that doesn't look like. I don't know. I need to learn that, and I need to figure out how to get my other streaming stuff in line with it, and then I can probably do something a little more useful in that regard. So anyway, yeah, we are on a Thursday. Couldn't stream last night because still had family in town, and so they left today, and so that's why we're back at it. So today, kind of continuing on with the Relic Knight stuff, I'm going to be painting this Codifier Rahe and FF9000, and I'm going to stick them on the old Secret Weapon Tau Ceti bases. Here's the cards. The color scheme on these guys are pretty boring, but we'll see if, maybe I can do something a little interesting with them. I don't know. I'm just going to get the cards out of the box. And then I have to get around to laminating those at some point. But anyway, here we go. Here's the bag, and we're just going to go ahead and get to work here. So yeah, I haven't touched a paintbrush since I left for Comic-Con. Actually, since before I left for Comic-Con. What was that last stream was literally the last thing I painted. So that was like last Monday. So we're talking 10 days. 10 days that I haven't painted. That's got to be like a recent record for me. So we're just going to do a little cleanup on these guys here. One thing I'll tell you right off the bat, I like that the body is all pretty much one piece. So this should go well. Kind of like the outfit here. It's got, kind of that duster look here. I don't know. Let's see what we do here. He's kind of cool looking already. Also like this, that the arms are just, I'm going to do a little dry fit here. So he's got, oh, that's awesome. I love that. And then the head goes like this. Yeah, that looks great. Not a whole lot to clean up here. Everything looks pretty good. This looks like I need to do just the teeniest little bit of cleanup on that. My triangle clippers here. So this looks like it's going to be kind of fun to paint. I don't know. This is pretty cool cosplay. It's a pretty cool cosplay. I like it. Let's do that. Still have a little bit of mold lines here on the staff. So I'm just gonna knock down the whole thing. So yeah, I have some more footage from Comic-Con. I am really sorry, guys. I have footage from cons that I just took, AX and even WonderCon all the way back then, that I just take, and it just sometimes it just doesn't make the cut. Sometimes it's just not. I go back and watch it, and I go, I don't think anyone wants to watch that. It just doesn't seem interesting enough to upload. But let me know. I can put up something, and if you guys don't watch it, it's okay. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, so then we got this little guy. Where's the rest? Okay, so he's got two little teensy bitty arms here. How does that go? I gotta figure out how this little dude goes. Sometimes these joints, because these joints have little bits of flash on them, it can be annoying trying to put this stuff together. That said, I do miss the ease with which soft plastic goes together. A matter of knocking out mold lines. Mold lines can get annoying depending on where they are. These ones aren't so bad. And I don't need those, obviously. Okay. So let's see. That looks like it's going to go here. Maybe there. Yeah, that looks right. So it's like this. Neat little. What happened with the video side on the YouTube? Looks like it's frozen up a bit. There it goes. I guess it's just a little choppy right now. This does not look right. All right, hold on. You got to get this right. So painting these should go fairly quick. It's just a matter of getting the stupid mold lines out. I gotta look at okay. So that absolutely looks like that's right. So that and that. There we go. Okay, I got it. So now we can start gluing this stuff together. By the way, did you guys see the Gen Con releases for Ninja? Holy crap. I am so glad I worked Comic-Con and I was able to rack up all that credit, because I am going to need it for the stuff that I want for the Gen Con stuff that's going to be on sale. Woo! Yeah, that glue exploding on me did not help. I hate that when that happens, actually, because it kind of ruins the model. Not to mention it burns your fingers when plastic is gluing to your fingers. Yeah, that's not good. Robot here. There we go. And let's put him on this little thing. I guess like that, right? Yeah. So yeah, lots of Takahashi miniatures, lots of new releases for Relic Knights. The Wave 2 stuff for SDE you can buy during Gen Con, which is going to be amazing. So it's going to be pretty crazy. I hope I can get everything I want, because that's going to be pretty wild. Oh man. Yeah. Let's hope he sticks there. That little dude. I hate it when you do this and you get glue on your fingers and it shuts. It kind of seals the top of your nail to your finger hate that quite a bit. It's horrible. It's a horrible feeling. Anyway, let's go ahead and glue in the codifier. I already did a dry fit, so most of this stuff looks pretty good. And let's do the arms. I gotta decide what color scheme I want to do on this guy, because I don't know. The studio scheme just looks kind of boring. Maybe I can do something similar, but like an Aleph, more like the stuff I do for Aleph, which is a little more bone. And then his cloak is kind of that beige, but I may do something richer. Hey, Steven's in. What's up, man? How's it going? Just painting up assembling some Relic Knights right now with the intent of painting it. This is Codifier Brahe, or he's, really Tycho from Penny Arcade. So I'm going to glue him to this part of the base. Maybe I need to, yeah, there we go. That's actually pretty good. Okay, so let's do that. We'll give him, oh, yeah, that's right. And then we're going to give him a minute here to kind of dry up. I'm looking at him. I'm thinking, man, I actually have a duster, which might work as his cloak. If I wanted to do a cosplay of him. I'm thinking I would do Gabe, though, between the two, because Gabe has the black hair, and this guy's a blonde. But he's a blonde, but his colors are all kind of washed out. That's the one thing that's bugging me about this model. It's a great looking model, but the color's a little washed out. Just chilling. Gonna have some Ben & Jerry's and then do some painting. Nice. What flavor is it? Americone Dream? Because that's my favorite. That is my favorite. Ben & Jerry. Americone Dream. I like Chunky Monkey. Pretty much like them all. All their flavors are really pretty good. Okay, having a little issue here gluing to these Tau Ceti bases. I suspect it's because I didn't clean these bases and they probably have a little bit of that mold release on them. So I'm just going to let this guy chill for a minute. Okay, so we'll let him dry down on his base. I'm going to go pop open my soda. There we go. And we'll give that a minute to dry. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys a little bit about tonight. That's the plan. A little wrap of Comic-Con. And then I want to talk a little bit about the plans for the rest of the year. And, spoiler alert, I don't really have a set plan for the rest of the year. This is the time of year after the major cons are done. So after AX Comic-Con, after GameX, this is where the Play It Painted crew and myself, meaning mostly me, but I do collect some feedback from the other guys in the crew, particularly Phil. He does a lot of thinking along these lines too, because we've got Saugust coming up. But we think about, okay, well, here's what happened this year. Here's what we liked about this year. Here's what we didn't like about this year, and we honestly reevaluate. We think, okay, what are we doing this year that we like? What are we doing that we don't like? What do we want to be doing next year that would make us a little happier? right? Because, I mean, that's what it's about. My favorite was Oatmeal Cookie Crunch, but they don't make that anymore. But I'm having some milk and cookies. That sounds awesome. It does sound awesome. Okay. Looks like you are ready to go. Let's put on some gloves. Let's do a little airbrushing because I got to prime. So I'm going to do the same old like zenithal prime, that kind of thing. I don't think I'm really going to do really much in terms of blocking, color blocking, because I don't really see much to block. So yeah, we're just going to do the same old, what I always do, meaning I'm going to give this a layer of gray primer. Then I'm going to shoot a black ink over it. And then I'm going to go back and give it a little gray primer, or maybe even like a white top coat. I may actually move around a little bit on this color scheme. Like I was saying, it's going to be kind of the gray that you see in the studio color, but I think we're going to experiment just a little bit on this and maybe give him a little bit more color. Since his hair is blonde, I like to mix blonde with blue. And so I might do that. Or I might even like make him a little darker looking. Might go for that like moonlit look that I have on the other. I did that on that Joan miniature, which I thought was awesome. So anyway, here we go. It's been a while since done any painting, so time to fire up the airbrush. And I gotta clean the airbrush. Now the airbrush looks pretty clean, but you always gotta pull that needle out and give it a good clean before you start going. So Mr. Tin Man, what are you going to be working on tonight? You said that you're going to be painting. I'm assuming it's Warma Horde stuff. So yeah, let us know what you'll be painting. I'm still gonna. I'll probably put up another the last bits of that Rhett army. Sadly, that will leave me with no Warma Hordes, but it's. I think if I did pick up Warma Hordes again and play it, I probably would go right back to Rhett because I like their aesthetic the most, and I would be happy to repaint those. So I don't feel too. The one thing that bothers me is the magnet jacks. Selling the magnet jacks kind of sucks because of all the like work I put into magnetizing all that. Okay, still, yeah, there's got a little gunk in this. I do need a sonic cleaner or something to kind of make this work. Sword Knight Solo and the unit attachments. Sounds cool. I don't know what a Sword Knight Solo looks like, but it sounds cool. All right. Let's do a little alcohol through here before we get the primer in here. And we'll do some priming. Flow looks nice and good. So we're rocking. All right. And another Cthulhu. Why not? When is painting a Cthulhu a bad idea? So gray primer in here. And let's get going. Say what you want about airbrush, but priming with an airbrush is a beautiful thing. You just get such a nice, wonderful little even coat. And you get, I don't know, you just have so much better control. Just fantastic. Oh, I really should have filed down the edges of this. I can still do that. I'll come back and do that in a minute. Fun little robot here. Yeah, I'm going to knock these edges down real quick. Wherever did I put that file, though? That file, though. So yeah, Comic-Con. Let's get into that. So this is what, my fourth, fifth year at Comic-Con, I forget. And this year they finally did something that I did complain about last week, and I was dreading it. And this week this past Comic-Con kind of proved me right, which is they finally moved us off the mezzanine. So we were in the mezzanine in the main convention hall, which was fantastic in years past because it was just such a great little location. It gave us the best of everything, right? Because you're right next to the con, which is fantastic. You got the good traffic from the con. You got people stumbling in, learning how to game. You know, people that might not ever normally look for gaming. And we have an opportunity there to, really reach people that we can't normally reach when we're doing gaming and volunteering and that kind of stuff. This year, they took us out and they put us in the Hyatt, which, which is quite a trek. It is, it's 2 blocks from the convention center. So it really is, far, far away. You can't really get to you're not really going to go to the Hyatt unless you have a very specific reason to go to the Hyatt. And for us, that reason was, the people that wanted to go to the Xbox events and do some of the esports stuff that they were also having at the Hyatt. So, I mean, if the really only crossover crowd we had access to was the video game crowd. Now that works out great for some of these games, SDE, that kind of stuff. And we did get, some folks that were there specifically looking for gaming. That said, I would say that our traffic wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it definitely wasn't what it has been in years past. And gaming really, I don't know, gaming at the con this year was a little disappointing for me. On the plus side, it wasn't, gaming at Comic-Con this year did not require a convention pass to attend, which was kind of cool. So, one of the areas where it worked out was like people that were able to only say get Friday, for example, Thursday, Friday, maybe a Sunday badge. If they didn't get that Saturday badge, they're in town, they got nothing to do on Saturday. Well, they're going to come down and check out gaming because they can. They don't need a badge to check out gaming. So that was kind of good. But overall, I was disappointed that we just didn't have the kind of traffic that I was really enjoying on the mezzanine. And I think that the past years that I'd been at Comic-Con, that traffic into the mezzanine was slowly starting to increase, and people were starting to look more and more forward to having gaming there on the mezzanine as as an event unto its own, and also just for the convenience of it, being right there on top of the convention hall and in between and below the autograph area. So the other thing about gaming this year was we were all put in this open gaming area on the Hyatt on the 4th floor. And I went over there. I was disappointed. I walked over there preview night and just to see where it was. And I got to be honest with you guys, I was pretty sorely disappointed in that the location seemed okay, but it just seemed so cramped. The tables were all stuck together, and the ceilings were low. There was a little outside area. It seemed like, I don't know, it just seemed like a coffin to me, you know? And that might be my feelings about the location move kind of projected onto the site itself. But I felt like I just felt like suffocated in there, and I just got a really bad vibe from there. It's almost like, you know, creepy dudes were going to hang out in there. And as it would turn out, yeah, there were lots and lots of somebody, you know, some great betrayer or something, some ungrateful dude, must have just stuffed that place full of creepers, because it was really creepy from what I'd seen, and I didn't really want to have much to do with that area. So, but when I got there, the one thing that was cool was I got there and Ross calls me on preview night and he says, "Hey man, Geek Chic is looking for some help. Can we help Geek Chic?" Right now, for those of you who don't know, Geek Chic, they make custom gaming tables. So specifically for board gamers, for card gamers, for miniature gamers. And this is really high-end, handcrafted, top of the line stuff. Beautiful stuff. It's what they do. And they were having gaming at Comic-Con this year. They wanted to be, you know, wanted to show off their products, and they wanted to host some gaming there. They, however, you know, with Geek Chic being located in the Pacific Northwest, really their connections to San Diego and Comic-Con was Ross. Now, you guys who know who Ross Thompson is, pretty much all people in gaming know who Ross Thompson is. That's a good person to know, right? If you're going to be doing gaming in San Diego, Ross is a very, very, very good person to know. And what Ross did was he put them directly in contact with me. He was like, "Hey, you know, Octave is running gaming in town. He's a ninja. He's well versed in this kind of stuff. He's a con veteran, and he's got his own team." So Ross called me during preview night, and he's like, "Okay, do you still want to do that thing with Geek Chic?" And I said, "Hell yeah, I want to do that thing with Geek Chic. I like them. I like their stuff." And he said, "Okay, consider it done." So what I did then is I went ahead and coordinated with Geek Chic to move me off the fourth floor of the Hyatt, which again was kind of struck me as a coffin, and onto the second floor of the Hyatt, which was beautiful because it was right next to the Xbox events. So there you go, crossover crowd right next door, and second floor Hyatt. Really, we were the headliners there for that Geek Chic lounge at the Hyatt. So we moved there, and then also Geek Chic had another HQ over at the Grand Horton. So yeah, that worked out really well. I was super happy about that. I felt so much better doing that, as opposed to, you know, doing what I felt was kind of like being trapped on that fourth floor. And yeah, there were some creepers there. There were some folks that I don't know. They just strike me as kind of creepy, and so but there's a really lot of some cool staff there that I enjoyed the presence of as well. But anyway, the second floor worked out much better. And so what we did actually was we did a lot of the gaming on the second floor, and then we also would move over and do some gaming at the Geek Chic HQ at the Grand Horton, and that was freaking awesome. I loved that. Now at the Grand Horton, they had all their fancier tables there. They had like a full bar service restaurant. They even had their own special menu at the Geek Chic HQ lounge. So that was really cool. And you know, spending the whole weekend with the Geek Chic guys It was just a really fun experience. They're really fun guys. They're really sharp guys. They love gaming. You know, they're not just poser guys like trying to be famous or whatever. You know, they're not trying to be famous, because we're getting that at Comic-Con too. There's like a famous contingent going on there. And I predict that will get worse. But anyway, yeah, so hanging out with Geek Chic was awesome. We did Super Dungeon Explorer all weekend. We did some Relic Nights. Lots of Tentacle Bento and Karate Fight. Those were pretty popular games. By far, ST was kind of the hit of the show. You know, doing Forgotten King and all that. So that was awesome. Yep, come on in. Hey, what's up? Hi. Hi, monkey. Pardon me a sec, guys. I've got my son here. He's going to say goodnight. Hi, buddy. Hi. Oh, yeah. That was sloppy. Night, night. Night, buddy. All right, thanks, sweetie. All right. So, yeah, did the creepers do the creeper? You know, I wasn't there long enough to see anything like that, but the ones that did wander down was a little creepy. Yeah, famous. Yeah, I just think that I think that the rest of the gaming community is starting to see an opportunity there at Comic-Con to not just to enjoy Comic-Con at the price of gaming, but also, you know, to actually show off some stuff. There was there were some indie developers there at Comic-Con, some indie game developers. That's cool. We like to see that. I don't know that that's particularly the best format. I think at Comic-Con, for that show, I really think you want to have solid, professional grade, you know, game presentations, and you know, people that really can take it seriously. You know, people that really do, you know, conduct themselves in a professional manner, that can put together really nice looking tables, nice looking displays. I think that's what Comic-Con's about. You know, you're leading in with your, especially for gaming, you're leading in with your best foot, and you want gaming, you want to present well, right? What you don't want is you don't want a bunch of like creeper guys that are just there for free tickets or whatever, free stuff. You want those. You don't really want those guys representing gaming. You want your press ganger type caliber people. You know, perfect example. You know, Tyson, the Martindales, those guys. You know, Steven, if you lived closer to San Diego, and by the way, they didn't have a privateer booth this year. That bummed me out, because I always go to the privateer booth. Now, you know, I'm not really a War Hordes player, but I love y'all limited edition minis, and I can get that at the privateer booth at Comic-Con. And that's what I did last year. I got a couple like keg masters or whatever. What are they called? The keg protectors. I got those. And I was really bummed out that they didn't have it this year. But anyway, that's what I'm talking about. Maybe not so much GW, because GW doesn't really do the Outrider, that type of program anymore. But press gangers are, you know, press gangers are considered top of the line volunteer game ambassadors, and rightfully so. I mean, some of the best guys I know, ambassadors for games, are press gangers, and the press ganging program. The press ganger program for Privateer is fantastic. They take good care of their volunteers. They have really good guidelines. They even have their own little, you know, they have quartermasters and all that stuff. Hopefully the ninja program will get to that point. I think, you know, if the ninjas start to grow a little bit. But that's what I'm talking about. Press gangers, you know, maybe even I can foresee Malifaux coming back to Comic-Con, not under me, obviously. But you know, maybe under some other henchmen, as long as they get. Now, I'm pickier than the current folks in gaming over at Comic-Con, but I think you really do need cream of the crop level people. You know, you do need that those people that know how to present and aren't creepers. I know Tyson and Martindale. Yeah, I mean those guys were mainstays over at Comic-Con, and rightfully so. Those guys did a great show. The Privateer booth was always awesome. So, yeah. But yeah, good to see. Would be good to see some of that stuff come back, and I do think that that's what your gaming should be like at Comic-Con. I don't think your gaming should be, you know, the guy that just leaves 2 decks of whatever game there and just F's off to take pictures of hot cosplayers. I don't think that should be your Comic-Con. I think it should be, I think it should be the guys that do do the extras, the guys that will do costumes, the guys that will teach people how to play in a engaging manner. I remember at Comic-Con one year, one of my fellow volunteers wanted to learn like Flames of War or something like that, and the guy running it was not very personable and was like, "Oh, you can't play this demo unless you already know how to play Flames of War." We're like, serious? You can't play the Flames of War demo unless you already play Flames of War, which is about the worst thing I'd heard at Comic-Con. But I've seen worse. I mean, I've seen people show up there just for fellow game volunteers, just to poach prize support, or just to, try to increase their fame or whatever, or just, free tickets to the show. Now, free tickets to Comic-Con, I will not lie. Yes, I take advantage of that, and I like the fact that I can attend Comic-Con for gaming, but I also take the whole, I'm going to run gaming at Comic-Con very seriously. For those of you that know me, know that I actually take the whole I'm going to run gaming show. I mean, I do that to a fault. So, I've been accused of being a little too serious about that kind of stuff. But, if I'm getting, right, so at Comic-Con, if you figure each ticket's about $250, right? And if you get 4 tickets to Comic-Con, if Comic-Con International gives you 4 tickets to Comic-Con, including preview night, 4 nights, they're giving you $1,000. They're giving you $1,000 worth of stuff to go do something you should already enjoy at Comic-Con. I think $1,000 show warrants your best. I don't know. I don't have any other show that compensates me something that valuable. Not to mention, it's about 200 points worth of store credit from Ninja to do that show. So yeah, you really should put on the show. You should break out the fine china. You should take that show seriously. And people that don't take that show seriously, especially people that are just trying to exploit it, or the people that have tried to exploit me in the past to get into that show, that really bums me out. That makes no kind of sense. You're talking about the lack of the Privateer booth, right? Yeah, that bums me out. I would say, though, that the Privateer booth was probably not making the kind of money that they expect, or at least, not compared to when they do stuff like Adepticon or Gen Con. Because, Comic-Con's not really... Gaming at Comic-Con is still, in my opinion, still very much in a very early stage. So doing some Zenithal priming here. Ooh, don't like that. So yeah, Oh, that was about the flames. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, that guy showed up and he was like, you know, he got a ticket for him and his daughter Comic-Con, and they ran like, I want to say maybe 8 hours, so 4 hours on 2 different days for Flames of War, and then they effed off and enjoyed their show. I don't blame them for effing off and enjoying their show if it's a 2-man operation, but I mean, while you're working your hours, work your hours, right? Do what you're supposed to do there. I've seen worse, though. I mean, I've seen people that write big old schedules and don't show up for any of it. Now, if you were only on the 4th floor and you didn't see the amount of signage I left to say, hey, I moved to the 2nd floor, you might accuse me of the same thing, but I doubt it. There you go. What do you think? Pretty good. Well, Zenithal Prime. Pretty good. So now I'm just hitting the high spots of the models. This will make life a little easier. Start to paint these. Ooh, a little too much right there. All right, I don't really need to do anything else. There we go. One of these years, I'll make it to AX or Comic-Con. You know, honestly, knowing you, I would say go to AX. I would say for you, Steve, go to AX, man. AX is so fun. And honestly, between those two shows, I'm going to say I had way more fun at AX. I had way more fun at AX. And the reason why I did, though, is I just really liked working the booth. I thought the booth was working the booth was cooler than now, granted, I don't want to take anything away from Geek Chic because Geek Chic is awesome, and I had a fun time there with them. But working that Ninja booth and seeing the whole crew, right? The whole Pip crew, all the like SoCal Ninjas rocking that booth at the same time, that was freaking badass. That was badass. That was the highlight of my public gaming this year, was seeing everybody in action. You know, firing, all guns blazing, seeing people get excited about Super Dungeon and Relic Knights and all that stuff at the same time. That was well worth it. Greenleaf Terrain, hey buddy, hey, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. We're working on some more Relic Knight stuff. Now, have you guys seen the Gen Con, the stuff that Ninja's putting out for Gen Con, the miniatures that they'll have? It's insane. Lots of Relic Knight stuff, like I was saying. Even the Anima stuff that was promised, Anima and Eldorado miniatures that was promised this year are out. Everything except for that limited edition winged Cilia that I still want is out and around and will be around at Gen Con. So there goes all my Ninja points because I'm going to stock up. I am going to pick up all the Takahashi miniatures and probably all the limited edition or the early release Relic Knight stuff, which includes Questing Knight Malia, Questing Knight Calico Kate. I mean, that's stuff that I love. Now, for Relic Knights, I love the Knight miniatures, but from a gameplay standpoint, I really prefer the Questing Knights. And the reason why I prefer the Questing Knights is not that they're more powerful. In fact, in my opinion, they're significantly significantly less powerful than the Knights, but their playstyles are better. Their playstyles are more entertaining. They have absolute strengths and weaknesses, whereas the Relic Knights they're all pretty good at most stuff. Especially like take a Relic Knight like One Shot. She's pretty good at everything. Princess Malia, really good at everything. So yeah, the Questing Knight form of Malia I'm really looking forward to. Okie doke. All right, so anyway, I think the priming is done. I'm gonna turn off the airbrush. Adam, what are you working on, dude? I'm sure it's awesome, whatever it is. All right, we're gonna let that. So I'm gonna take off the gloves here. Take another sip of my drink. And let's get ready for some brush painting. Here's the miniature. See, I love how that Zenithal Prime really kind of just gives me the lighting exactly where I want it. I mean, on camera, he looks pretty good. He looks much better on camera, actually, than he does in real life. In real life, he looks kind of flat and dull, but we'll fix that. Here's FF9000. Fun little robot there. All right. The one thing that kind of bums me out is that Justin Borges was in town, was in San Diego during Comic-Con, didn't have tickets to the con, and he could have come and hung out with us at Geek Chic, and he didn't. And it's not his fault. He didn't know that you could do that without a pass to the con. Now, I guess what I'm telling you, Stephen, is that, and I'm targeting you, is that if you do have a chance to be in San Diego next year during Comic-Con and you don't have tickets, I recommend going anyway, because I think the new the trend in Comic-Con, because they are going to be there until 2018, and because there's no large renovation of the convention center in sight, that means that the attendance to the convention, meaning the convention hall, is still flat, and it's been flat for a number of years. But the push is, if they want to stay in San Diego, now this is just my opinion, if they want to stay in San Diego, what they really need to try to do is they need to try and make Comic-Con more about the city than about the building. Okay, so what I'm saying is consider Mardi Gras, right? Consider Mardi Gras New Orleans. Mardi Gras New Orleans is not tied to a specific building. Mardi Gras New Orleans is the entire downtown of New Orleans, and it sprawls out, and the celebration happens everywhere. That is why New Orleans is not, they're not going to let go of Mardi Gras, because it's intrinsically tied to the identity of the city itself. Now, with all the threat of Comic-Con moving to LA or Comic-Con moving to Anaheim, which I would love, by the way. That's just my personal bias, as I live 20 minutes from Anaheim. With the pressure to move there, and the knowledge that those towns have larger convention centers, both of them are larger convention centers than the San Diego Convention Center, San Diego will not be able to compete with regards to their building. They're not gonna be able to compete, but they still have Comic-Con in town, so they still can make it about the town. And so what I foresee happening in the next couple of years is a greater and greater emphasis on off-site events that do not require tickets to Comic-Con. And what will happen is, there are 500,000 visitors in San Diego for Comic-Con. That's insane. 500,000 people come every year to Comic-Con. Bear in mind that there are really only 150,000 people attending the con at any given time. That means at any point you have 350,000 people in San Diego looking for stuff to do when they're not at the con. And those people are everywhere. They're all over town. And so when you have an operation like, say, Geek Chic or, Conan O'Brien, or, you have celebrities doing things, you have off-site stuff, that push is just going to become greater and greater in the future years. So I think that's where they're going. I think that's where, that operation like Geek Chic, where they understand what San Diego is trying to do, and they're interjecting themselves as part of that plan. And so it's going to be an interesting time. It'll be, I really think next year for Comic-Con, it's not going to matter much if you have a ticket to the convention or not. What's going to matter is that you're available and around downtown, and you know where to go, and you know where to go, and you know what you want to do. Because it would seem odd that a convention would support off-site events where they don't making any money, right? Comic-Con's not making any money if you go to the Geek and Sundry Lounge. They don't make any money if you go to the Geek Chic Lounge. But they want you to go. They want you to go now because that you're part of that plan to make Comic-Con synonymous with the city of San Diego, so that there's no more question about it leaving, right? Like, who cares? Okay, the convention center is probably not going to get bigger until, say, 2020. Who cares? People will come to San Diego anyways in ever increasing numbers, and you'll have an increase in the amount of offsite events and an increased prestige in the amount of offsite events. So that's just my prediction of what's going to happen with Comic-Con in the next couple of years. So absolutely, if you guys have the chance and you're in town, hit it up. Go to Comic-Con with or without con tickets, because I think it's a good thing. I think you can only stand to benefit there, and it's a great time. I will admit to you that this year I had more fun I had way more fun outside the convention center than I had at the convention center. Frankly, the only thing I really like about the convention center are two things. Now that Taimak is gone, can you believe that, Steve? Taimak, my favorite celebrity. You guys may know him as Bruce Leroy from Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon, that I take pictures with, and you know this, Steve. I take pictures with him every year because he is my best friend, and well, he doesn't know it, but I call him my best friend, and I was determined to make that happen. I take a picture with him every year. Well, guess what? He wasn't on the schedule this year. He wasn't on the autograph schedule this year, and I nearly lost my shit. I nearly flipped out. If there's a way to table flip a convention center, I would have done it because I was so mad. Like, what? That's when I was at my lowest, was like a week ago when I was looking at that schedule going, God, I don't even have a reason. I don't even have a reason to be at Comic-Con this year. Why am I at Comic-Con? And I know, first world problems, right? But to put it in perspective, Comic-Con costs me a lot of money every year because I got to take time off work. You got to buy your hotel room, unless you're schmoozing off other people, which isn't bad. I understand, but with my wife and kid, I can't really do that. So I'm out $800 plus for a hotel room. I'm out at least 3 days of work, and I'm hauling shit back and forth between a hotel room and a convention center, or in this case, another hotel room. Busted my back, busted my feet, busted my legs. It's a significant investment, is what I'm saying. And for Taimak not to be there with him being like one of the main reasons why I want to go to the autograph area. That was very, very disappointing for me. Guess he wasn't feeling the glow this year. I think. Well, I noticed that the autograph schedule had been severely chopped this year, and that made me sad. So I think I assume he was the casualty of that. But yeah, I got to get. I got to go visit the glow every year. So yeah, that was disappointing. So yeah, I really didn't. It really wasn't about the convention hall this year. I went preview night. That's really the reason you go to preview night. You check out the booths while there, you don't have a crazy, stupid crowd to push through. That's just horrifying to try to travel through. And you visit the hall, and you can get like your little exclusives and all that stuff preview night. I mean, if you are going to go to the convention center one night, go preview night. Highly recommend it. It's really the only time you can breathe. Well, Sunday is not too bad either. Although I heard stories that Sunday's getting pretty bad. But preview night's usually pretty good. If you can swing it, get that preview night ticket and go visit preview night. And then honestly spend the rest of the week out in town and do gaming, do cosplay, attend that stuff. If you're going to do a Hall H panel, good luck. You're a crazy person. Don't do a Hall H panel. But whatever. Okay. So, but overall, I guess, I was still pretty happy with Comic-Con, but it's forced me to ask a lot of questions in this off season, and I'm going to consider us in the off season because I don't have much intention of going to Strategicon Gateway, which really is like which historically was like the last con I would do in a year. When we're talking post SmackDown, now that SmackDown, that's what I would do. But yeah, oh, man, I just don't know. I don't know. That experience at Comic-Con, I was like, well, I could have just got a ticket for Sunday. I could have got a hotel or something for 2 nights. Enjoyed a couple nights out there with my wife and my family and some friends, and then just been happy. I didn't need to do all of that, especially if my gaming outreach wasn't really an outreach. And let's be honest, a lot of times I was just demoing for people that were cool, that were awesome, had fun. But I mean, I would have greatly preferred to get that old traffic that we used to get. So, I really got to take stock of especially with the situation here with my new family, and trying to decide how much of this gaming is really important to me, and how much do I want to invest in gaming, because it's taking time and money away from my family, from my son, and I can't really, that doesn't sit well with me. And that's part of the reason why I started doing painting commissions, was because I can't I don't want my hobby to take away from my son. So yeah, and I got to consider this part too. There are some what should I say? There are some activities that I can keep that really aren't going to be any sort of financial drain on the family. And in fact, the one thing that's good about this whole commission stuff is usually when I do a local show, I usually come home with commission. There's usually somebody that's hired me to do something before I've left that show. And so I usually make my money back and then some when I go do these shows. But Comic-Con, not so much. Comic-Con, you will always lose money. You will always lose money, just because there's just so much money goes into being part of that show. Let's see. I read a Kickstarter update where Adam said he was going to try again. Did you hear anything? I think he was thinking about doing it this year, but with the Parallax Kickstarter, right around the corner, I doubt he's going to try for the con this year. I think he will try next year. So, but I don't know. He could surprise us if I think the thought was, try to get the Parallax Kickstarter done and underway by the end of fall, and then try a quick campaign to get Ogre up and going. I just don't see that happening. I don't think with him trying to launch a new game, I don't think he can afford to divide his efforts at this point. So, speaking of Kickstarter stuff, or not really Kickstarter, but Indiegogo, I had a question for you, Steve. I did back the Paladin Game Castle thing. I think that's the name of that shop nearby you. I backed the Indiegogo campaign to like upgrade their chairs and all that stuff. And we were supposed to get like our names on the wall, I think. And then we're supposed to get like dice and the dice cup and that kind of thing. Do you have any info on that? Because I haven't seen anything. I don't even know if they went ahead. I've got no updates. I don't even know if they went ahead and got those chairs and all that stuff. I don't know. Let me know. Did you hear anything about that? I'm curious. Still collecting on some other Kickstarter stuff like my Arena Rex mat. Ooh, that's really kind of borked that. I'll fix that. Yeah, let me know. Okay. And I am going to do a little wash here. Can I do a wash or? Yeah, no, I should do an ink. I should go back to doing that ink. Where did my ink go? So I'm going to do a little work on Mr. Robot there. Uh-oh. I'm moving a little slow tonight, guys. It's because I haven't painted in a while, and frankly, let's see. Is this blue or black? It's black. Let's see. Your name is up on the wall. Cool. Cool. I don't know if you still frequent that shop. It'd be cool if you sent me a photo of that or just posted it somewhere. I think that'd be cool. As for the dice, I'll chat with it. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was happy to back that one because I know I know that you game up there, and so and possibly Aaron the Nance, he games up there, and I was like, okay, well, happy to help you guys out with your local if you're going to be gaming up there. Good, always good to keep the LGSs going, or when they need help. It's always fun. So yeah, so off season really. I've got to think about what's good for me, what's good for my family. What do I want to continue to do? What's going to be more fun for me to do next year? The takeaway that I got from this year was that that working the Ninja booth is super, super fun. Working as part of a larger Ninja team where, I'm not the guy that picks up all the loose shifts and, carries all the stuff and begs people to be there on time and all that stuff. Working a booth means that I don't have to do any of that. Somebody else does all that, and I like that a lot. So that was one of the learnings this year. The other learning was, Comic-Con moving forward is just it's not, that show isn't what it used to mean to me. So I really have to evaluate that. I really have to evaluate what I want to do with gaming conventions in general. Because at this point, it's almost like it might be better if I just attended gaming conventions. It might be better if I kind of let go a bit, and let the new guys, the new volunteers and all that, let those guys do the gaming stuff, because I really got to put some money away. I really got to do some stuff for my family. Get those guys. Get my family on track with all this. The other thing is, if I do go back to Comic-Con, would I go back to run gaming? I don't know. Would I run a team? I don't know. I might just go back and do this. I might go back and just do painting for them, because they'd asked me for that in years past. They're like, hey, are you going to go back? You're going to do painting for us? Painting is way easier because, I can, I would need a much smaller team, meaning probably just me and my wife, maybe one or two other people that I could depend on. And then you just sit there and paint. There's no game. Hosting gaming is fun, but sometimes you got little kids, you got issues with the con, you got people issues, and painting does not have the kind of people issues. So it's just something to think about. So I'm thinking about doing that next year. For the volunteer side, if I'm a pure volunteer, look at booth work, look at non-gaming cons, reduce my con presence. I'm going to continue to reduce my con presence. 2 years ago, I was at 12 cons. This past year, I was at, I want to say 5. So I'm still continuing kind of the downward trend there. And I don't think that's a bad thing, honestly. This is about personal decisions with me and my family. I don't know. Gaming cons are gaming cons. I've kind of know. I think that community, everybody pretty much knows what we're about. They may not know me personally, but they kind of know what I bring to the shows. And I don't know at this point if there's anything left for me to do with the the quote unquote the public gaming crowd. I don't know. I think we've kind of done what we can do there. I think we've kind of hit our threshold. So yeah, if I'm going to volunteer to run gaming at shows, I'm going to look specifically at things like anime conventions, because there's still, for Ninja Division, there's still a huge opportunity there, to get these games in front of the people that really are going to appreciate the theme. So there's that avenue. Working the AX booth, and whatever booth Ninja decides to do nearby, SoCal, also a good thing. But I'm talking about maybe attending some cons. We're definitely, because it's Phil Howard's event, we're definitely keeping Saga as a Play It Painted annual event. That's just going to be a thing. And locally, I'm going to do paint days. I don't think there's already a new Orange County Ninja for my LGS Comic Quest. Gareth is now a ninja, which is fantastic, because that takes a lot of pressure off of me. And I can go back to just doing paint day, because I love paint days. Paint days are awesome. Iron Painter, I remember that was the event that they used to have up in Bakersfield. Always wanted to go to that. Never had the chance to go to it. But now, we're going to be doing painting down here. Extra Life is something I need to consider. I do have a campaign for this year, but now it's a matter of trying to decide how much energy am I going to invest in that campaign. I don't think I have the same kind of pull that I had a year ago when I did Extra Life originally, my first Extra Life campaign. So it'll be interesting to see, how does that play out? So all this stuff needs to be figured out for me in this off season. I mean, what do I really want to do with gaming? This YouTube channel is not in danger because as long as I'm painting, Play It Painted Live continues. Really shouldn't be any concern about this. This is just me turning a camera on and moving a paintbrush around. There's no. It's really not that big a deal. So yeah, but that's a lot to think about it. We almost had one in June, but we had to postpone it because it was on Father's Day. Yeah, actually, that's funny because my LGS was trying to do that too, and it was also on Father's Day, and we're like, nah. So there's also Geek Meet, which I'd like to keep, but I don't know. I don't know what my future is there either. On a personal level, I may be considering having, my wife and I may be considering having our second child. And, I don't think I can leave her alone as much as I have been. If we're going to have another child, that's really insane to try to ask your wife to take care of two small children like that so I can run off and play games. It's actually kind of a dickish move, if you ask me. But yeah. So it is a lot to think about. You got to think about, for me, these days, gaming is fantastic, but nowhere near the kind of joy, the kind of fulfillment I get from being a dad. No way. And I know at some point, though, I'll have the ability to really get back into this. But right now may not be the time. Right now, it might just be more about letting that little running around with that little kid and maybe having another one and being around more for them and having and saving some much needed money, putting that in the bank and increasing our nest egg. So yeah, it's just this is going to be very interesting to see where this stuff goes. I don't know. I don't know what's in store for me. Play It Painted will continue to exist. It's just a matter of rescoping it. And every year at Play It Painted, we do a rescope and we think about what's important this year. What's important for us individually in our real lives? What can we handle and what, frankly, what is gaming gonna do for us in the next year? Is it gonna keep us sane? Or are we gonna work so hard that we just end up damaging relationships and stuff that we don't want to mess with? A lot to think about. I'm sorry to get all serious on you, but that's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm gonna ramble about tonight is what should I do? I gotta take off. Catch you later. Thanks, man. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, well, hopefully later when you're painting, you can catch the rest of this sort of ramble and see where I go. Because yeah, this is the time where I give some serious thought to the following year and see, try to decide what do I really want to do here. Oh man. Yeah, I'm gonna make that smaller. Then I'm gonna dot this eye. There we go. I gotta be honest with you, the gaming community, Dreadlun had a video today about the decay of the YouTube gaming community, but I mean, I see decay in my local gaming community. It's like these are all the faces are the same. We want to see some fresh. I would love to see some fresh new faces and some other people stepping up to run stuff. And part of that might mean that I have to, that I may step down from stuff. Let people step in. Let the new guys, the new gamers, the new passionate people come in and do what they're going to do. For me, that means the very real possibility that these really small niche games that I love so much will not get supported. That's a very real possibility. It could also mean that, the kind of local painting stuff that I do may not see support. But there's not a whole lot we can do there. That's if we step back, we step away from gaming. You have no control of where people are going to pick up and what they're going to do. That's a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because you're going to be I think we would be pleasantly surprised to see people stepping up to promote different games that we haven't seen before or heard before. That's awesome. But also means that more than likely, some of your favorites just aren't going to be run. I hope they are, though. I hope that the other people that are stepping into Ninja locally want to continue to push, and I want to continue to back those people. But it's a crapshoot, School starts up, real life happens, and it's like just the fact that me personally, that I lasted for some time, doesn't mean that the next guy, and I've seen this happen already, the next guy comes in for about a month or so, really excited, really amped to do stuff, and then just runs out of gas, or he just doesn't see the support he was hoping to see, and loses heart, and then doesn't things don't really pan out for him. So, man, there's still a lot of painting to be done here. I don't think I'm going to get very far on this at all, but that's okay. This is all just for fun stuff. I'm actually going to be running this guy in the Slow Grow League locally. So, and really, I won't be able to start until next Tuesday for Tactical Tuesday. So, I got some time. I'm gonna, but I want to paint him up. I want him to look real cool before we do this kind of stuff. Man, I may actually just put him in a black. I think I may go like black and copper on this guy. And his staff will be kind of coppery. So, yeah, we got to see how the gaming goes next year. Because, we did a lot of gaming this year, and there's still a lot of exciting stuff to happen within games and game systems, but I don't know. Locally, it would be cool. It would be cool to see who somebody else kind of step up and take this in a direction they want to take it. Hopefully not towards like e-fame and schmoozing off people. Although that, again, very real possibility. When you see, I know that the people that I see at the cons more and more are the people that I've had disagreements with about how public gaming should be conducted, about how volunteering should be conducted. I've had some very real disagreements with these folks, and the fact of the matter is, they're the mainstay, not me. So, and there's much more likelihood of whoever else comes in is going to share, more towards their views than my own. That's a very real possibility. But that's not necessarily bad. That's where gaming is. And I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that that I don't see that I'm doing wrong that those guys see, and they're able to capitalize on that. So that's cool. Like maybe I take some things too seriously. Maybe maybe I could stand to. I should really be doing this. Let me pull this in here. Maybe I should be more laid back in my approach, and maybe I should do a few more things for me. Maybe I should do a little more shameless self-promotion. Uh, begging manufacturers to send me more price support and that kind of stuff so that I can push my label. Well, I don't really care to push my label, though. I mean, it was cool that that we've got the kind of following that we have. It's not a big deal. It's not like, I mean, a number of likes on your page is just, that's all it is. It's just a number. Your YouTube subscriptions are, they're cool. It's always flattering to hear people say that they enjoy the stuff that I do. But again, if you're just counting number of subs, just a number. So just some stuff to think about. Nice sideburns on this dude. Where's his other ear? Yeah, he's pretty cool. Now let's do the mix a little basic skin tone in there. And then, I don't know, man. What colors? And figure out what colors I want to do this guy. I kind of like the idea of going brown on the pants and stuff. Doing brown on the inside and then making this cloak, a little more of like a blue cloak. But that looks a little too much like Shattered Sword, so I don't know. Let's just keep painting. We'll figure it out. Yeah, I suppose I could do yellow, but nah. Maybe like maybe I should just continue to highlight this up towards white. Give him a white cloak. That'd be kind of cool. So then his colors would be white, brown, and maybe this inside coat would be black. Or I could do the outside coat black. Just a lot of options here. He does kind of remind me, his armor pattern and all that does kind of remind me of Aleph from Infinity. So maybe I would make him look more like an Aleph type character. Pretty cool. Maybe the other option is maybe do a kind of like a purpley tinge on the armor tights part, and then like a bone brown there. Or this could be gold. Do gold here, gold trim there. Make this inside. Well, oh, man. Well, let's just keep working. Can't decide. Cannot decide. Do another layer of skin here. Oh, shoot. I hate that when that happens. The socket pulls in the paint. Oh, man. Hate that when that happens. And you gotta just dry off the brush, pull the excess moisture out of there. Because you're trying to save the eye that you painted in. Oh, I don't think I did. In this case, I don't think I managed to save the eye. Still doesn't look bad, but it's not right. Nope. Wait. Come on. Yeah, that's annoying. I hate that when that happens. Anyway, let's fix it real quick. And just a little black in the eye. We're back in business. Okay, doesn't look too bad. Just need a little more black. The bottom side of the eye. Looks okay. There we go. Yeah, looks okay. Do one final layer of skin. Then I really do have to decide how I want to paint the rest of this model. Because I am thinking this inside part, the tights, I think I may do another layer of black so they look a little darker. Or the option is to paint them like a brown color. There we go. Or blue. It's the other option. I could just do like a blue, I could do a blue wash You see how that goes? I think I may do that. Yeah, let's just do a blue wash and let the blue do what it's going to do. As long as you just let it, oh, I'm going to have to mount him. Yeah, like blue there, just in terms of a wash. Or purple. Well, purple's kind of cool, but let's do blue. So I'm going to apply this blue wash here. That looks pretty cool already. You can see with the zenithal highlight how that comes out. It's a really subtle effect. That's a nice looking blue. And you can layer it up, you know. So I'm also going to do the blue here. Wow, now I'm starting to wonder, maybe I should do the inner armor as white to contrast the blue. Because the blue is kind of like the Under Armour. And so I'm going to do another layer blue wash. Go real deep in there. To the tops of the boots blue. Yeah, and I'm liking this idea that the armor, the hard part, will be white. The There we go. Like that. Yeah, maybe the armor underneath is a bone color. And I'll just figure out what to do with the... All right. So, you know, I really do love this hobby. I really do love painting. I love gaming. I love teaching. I really love teaching. Both painting and gaming, by the way. But you know what's left for me? What at this point, it's fun just to do stuff when I can do it. But I'm getting to the point now where it is starting to become a conflict with, you know, stuff I want to do in real life in general. Ooh, let that run a little bit too much. You can soak some of it up. There you go. yeah, so it's starting to see conflict with the other stuff in my life. And so I really got to consider, what do I honestly want to commit to next year? And, how important is this stuff to me? And I got to tell you, I'm passionate about it, but it's not as important as it once was. I just have other things going on in life now. I hear my son crying right now. Hopefully, mom's got it. If not, then the broadcast is going to end. Not the end of the world, obviously, but again, if he needs me, I'm going to be there. That's just non-negotiable. So it will be really interesting to see how much I hang on to for next year. I'm thinking it's going to be different enough from this year that it's going to be its own little fresh direction that we're taking, and I'm excited about it. I really am. So now, just a little same yellow ochre. I'm going to do all the button work in that. Um, I don't know. It's looking kind of good. It's looking kind of cool. This gray and gray blue look. But I know we're gonna do more than this. I'm just wondering if this inside coat is maybe brown or even yellow brown, and then the outside coat can be black or white. Might have to be white. I might be a fan of that. So yeah. And the thing about the hobbyists that are dads, I noticed almost all of them will say, "Oh yeah, when my kids got to this age, I had to take a break from gaming, and watch them, and once they got a little bit older, a little more independent, I was able to come back." And I think that time is just about upon me. And you want to know something? I'm pretty excited about it, because while I love doing all this stuff, right, my heart is really with that kid. My heart is really with him and his mom, and having fun with those two, and just focusing down on giving them better things, because they deserve better things. So yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. So a little faux gold here on the. It's funny, but he's starting to look done on camera, but he's not. There's still a lot left to paint on this guy. We're gonna paint up the. We're gonna paint up his staff. And he has that hilarious D20 in his in the center of his staff, which I think is awesome. So I know I'm just rambling at this point, but that's the kind of stuff that I think about for next year. What do I really want to commit to? What's really important for me? Because gaming is just going to wane for me. No matter what I decide, even if I decide, oh yeah, I want to continue to do shows next year, and I want to do gaming at those shows, and I want to teach at those shows. Even in that case, I still think that my overall activity will be down, and it should be down. So yeah, well, we'll see how all this pans out. And it's kind of exciting. It's kind of cool. Very cool staff this guy's got. So the idea is going to hit that with the sepia, and then re-dry brush with the yellow ochre, and then put in the lighting effects. I guess the D20 is red, so I'll paint that D20 red. It's funny, but I thought Gabe would be the better miniature. Wild Space Gabe. I think this guy's way cooler. He's a way cooler miniature. Yeah. Okay. Oops. Let's continue down with the yellow ochre. So I'm going so thin that it should still continue to show the zenithal prime through there, which is nice. Just gives us a little extra shading and highlighting. Yeah, I think I am going to do white. I think his outer cloak will be white. The inner cloak will be like a brown or a bone. There we go. All right, so now let's, while that's drying, oh wait. Let's go ahead and do that inner cloak. Okay, so I'm going to start with a this light brown. Well, you know what? Maybe I should start with a slightly darker brown. Like, nah, that's not bad. Maybe that. Got a little too much red in it, but it'll work. All right, so I'm going to start with this Parasite brown. I don't know. What are my other options here for brown? Wood is a well, maybe not wood either. This green brown is probably about right. I think that's what I want. This is way too much red. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going in with. Okay, let's do it. What is brown violet? That looks way wrong. It looks like a military, looks like an olive. That's just too dark. Okay. So now let's go ahead and do this green brown. And that's going to be the inner coat. And I'm going to mix that with some Iraqi sand, and then wash it with sepia when I wash the when I wash all the faux gold stuff, right? So here it goes. Yeah, that's right. That is the color I was hoping that would be. So that worked out. So definitely not going to finish these miniatures tonight, because I really only wanted to paint for a couple hours, and you know, tonight the goal was just to shake off some rust from not having painted in over a week, and then blurt about Comic-Con, and then I can come back and finish this guy on my leisure. So, but what I will do tonight, at least, is I will get us through this brown coat, which I will highlight towards a bone color. So you can see it's really the inside coat that I'm doing here. And then the white armor. Which I may actually go like off-white for this internal stuff. Looking pretty good though. Yeah, maybe off-white. Instead of a regular full-blown white. Okay, looking pretty good. All right. So now let's go ahead and mix a little Iraqi sand into that. What do I just do with Iraqi sand? There we go. So Iraqi sand into that. I'll mix this up. And then, oh, so much for the skin tone. Like that. What's going to be interesting is I don't really want to do sepia on this, because this is going to be more of a bone colored coat. There you go. A couple layers of this. And if I do an extreme highlight, it's going to be it'll be off-white. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do an extreme highlight. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I think we're at about time where we can apply our sepia wash. Let's do that. Because we need the sepia wash to dry for other stuff we plan on doing here. Does FF9000 have any? No, he's pretty boring. He's got hardly any color at all to him. So, okay. So we're going to do his hair. So that keeps him nice and fun looking. He's got that forward comb going on his hair. Cool. And now we're going to do this. Pretty cool. What do you think? Pretty neat. I like that I can just paint these guys for fun. They don't, really the only person that will be gaming with these will be me. And to be honest with you, I might actually end up still proxying Gabe and Tycho because I love so many Ninja Division miniatures, especially Anima Tactics would look so good as this type of model. So yeah, a little biased there, but sorry, not sorry. Let's do the buttons. Nice. Anything else I'm missing? Yeah, right there. Okay. And let's paint in a little more brown on his. He's actually pretty close to being done. I mean, there's that whole stuff I need to do on the bottom, but he's looking pretty good. Okay. Let's do some earth brown. Chocolate brown? No. Chocolate brown separates too much. I'm going to do this earth color. And just paint the leather belts in the bags. Then I will, then I will move on to off-white. And I'm telling you, this guy will almost be done. Red ink for the for the dice would be good. Ooh. Ooh, this stuff is stringy. It's not quite the consistency I want it. It's okay. So we'll just make it work. And we're going to do a little additional painting here. Okay. Pretty good. Let's work on that off-white while we can. Off-white, off-white. So I'm actually going to dry brush a lot of this, but really soft dry brush, really soft dry brush. And focused. So off-white. Add some water to it. See how my makeup brush is doing. Looks pretty good. But yeah, yeah, he still needs some highlights and stuff. So he's not going to get finished tonight, but could easily finish him tomorrow night or whenever. And again, not really under any constraints other than I'm going to try to get him done by next Tuesday so I can play in the local Knight Escalation League with a new knight. So here we go. You can see I'm tracing up this line here because I am doing this cloak in more of a white color. I might actually have to come back and hit it with a white glaze if this isn't enough. It's looking pretty good though. I may have to do several layers of the white dry brush to get it how I want. It's looking pretty good though. What do you think? That looks like a pretty good color coat of white there. And it does look like it does look fairly similar to the Codifier Bray studio scheme. So much white. Mm-hmm. In his armor plates here, just a little bit of a white, just barely a little edge on there. Looking pretty good. And just continuing more layers of this. It's looking pretty, I like it. Yeah, that's what we like. Some more layers of that. It just looks right now. Okay, cool. Good. Yeah, he's looking pretty good. Let's do this guy. I just want certain edges to hit. I don't really need this guy to be too bright. In fact, I don't want him to be too bright. This guy reminds me of the robot from the black hole. Cool. Yeah. Nice. Okie doke. What else is left to do here? It's pretty good. Let's get that red D20 going. So for the red D20, all I would like to do is just a little bit of red ink. So we're just gonna do a little bit of red ink, just like it really just like a spot of it. Because it should shade up rather nicely. Although I don't like what it just did right there. Well, let's go ahead and move that ink around a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Disappointed. It's interesting that one of the major features of this miniature is a 20-sided die, given that he's featured in a game that uses cards. Huh? Right? Right? Strange. Anyway, do a couple of red details on him. Oof. See a pretty nasty mold line in there. You'll only see that mold line if you're staring deeply at it. Okay, looking pretty good. Looking pretty. Let's do a little red, a little robot here. So according to the studio art, he has red and his eyes. And then kind of top tennis ball here, also red. Cool. All right. Pretty good. That guy's just about done. There's not a whole lot to do with him. Maybe just do a little bit of lighting on the base, but he's basically, and he's also basically done. It's just highlighting at this point. Oh, I do need to drop a little. I do want to drop outline on his belts. So I'm going to get that with a little bit of black. There we go. There we go. All right, well, we're close enough. Let's go ahead and finish. We're close enough, right? Yeah. What I want to do here for this blue, do it on her. Hers was fun. It looks like, yeah, it looks like I just did a little bit of blue wash and then came back and highlighted, which is nice because that's about all that I really want to do to these miniatures. It's just that. Well, first off, though, before we even do that, let me get some hard edges on the armor. That's somewhat important. You don't want these edges to be too big, so just go sparing. There we go. Just a little extra couple of edges there. Wait a minute. I think what you did actually was you took a little bit of this glacier blue. This must be what I did. I guess I could have watched last week's show. Nah. Let's do this. A little bit of glacier blue here. And you just run a little bit of the glacier blue around the edges of stuff, the edges of the base where you would see lighting, like that blue lighting. So like here, like that, right? Just like that. There we go. And here. There we go. See? Just so quick and dirty. Now just a little bit of blue wash to hit the and just trace around it. That's all we're doing. Like this. There we go. Still needs a little bit of like maybe sky blue or another blue to legitimize it. That's funny how I said legitimize. What color am I using there? I think it's sky blue. So it's like that. And then as long as I come back in and highlight with the sky blue, should be okay. There we go. Okay. A couple other things I need to do. And give him a highlight on his hair. Like that. And also here. I'm just following the highlights with, where the major light source is going to be. It helps me maintain that look that this is, gold-ish, while still looking a little burnished. See, what do you think? Cool? Yeah, he's just about done, man. And I think he's looking pretty good. All right, so now let's go back this glacial white and just hit it again. All I'm doing is just giving the light a little more permission to act like light. See? That's all. Just the slightest little. That's all painting is you just do the slightest little things and they make the biggest differences. Yeah. Good. Do the same here. Wow, that wash is still very, very wet because it's a big old crease down there. So, but I can still do this. Still come through and hit that like that. There we go. Finally, let's do the black rims around the base, and I think that's it. We're just going to pack it up. There's still a little bit of highlighting I can do on the red. To be honest with you, it's not that big a deal to me, but do that, actually. Just do teeny little spots and stuff. And do this. Do the edging on the D20. Because that will make the D20 pop quite a bit more. See? It's pretty simple. Just pick the edges real quick. A little bit of actually using off-white to do this because it's so small. I mean, if this were a larger object, I'd probably mix in the white to a flat red and done it that way, but this works just fine. This should actually, woo, a little too much there. A little too much white. You can always, as long as it's wet, move it around. There you go. Okay. What else was I gonna do? I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Just need to do the black. Is this model gonna be okay? This guy, little dude. Yeah, it'll be okay. Maybe let's give him a couple of spots of this glacial blue. Right there with his eyes. And yeah, like that. Let's accentuate the plating on his head. There you go. Okay, see? Looking pretty good. All right, so now, final thing. Final thing. Black rim. Do the black lips. Oh, where'd the black go, though? Where'd the black go? Man, I can't believe I did that. Oh, there it is. Okay. Black around the outside. Oh, shoot. A little explosion. Not the end of the world, but just annoying. Just enough to be annoying. Well, luckily, these guys are done, so. That means I can definitely play them next week, if not sooner. Might play them this weekend if I can find people that want a game with me on Sunday. There you go. See? Pretty good. Oh, he's cool. I think he's cool. All right. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, starting to get excited to try these guys out now. to look at his stat card. Okay, cool. All right. There you go. That guy's done. And so is Codifier Brahe. So we're going to let them dry. Good evening from Virginia. Ah, man. Sorry, David. You are hopping on right as I am about to close the show here. But I want to thank you for tuning in anyway. So yeah, here is, what's his name? FF9000 and Codifier Brahe. Let's see if I can actually get a little bit. You get a little, oh man, you get a little bit of focus out of him, but he's still drying. Yeah, pretty happy with him though. Cool looking miniature, and his color palette looks a little, to me, it looks a little washed out, but I was able to make it work. So I think it's fun. Can't wait to try him out. I like the little D20 there. So anyway, yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video. I actually have to get up early tomorrow morning and do some work. Next week, I should be back to my normal schedule, so we can be back on Wednesday. Not sure what I'm going to paint yet, because Relic Knight stuff is going to be done. I may actually start painting some Infinity. So anyway, I think that's going to be it for this video. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.